What is going on YouTube? Running Gun Sports back here with another video. Today is our NFL Week 2 review. Very good week of football, and any week of football is a good week of football. But this week, the afternoon games were really close, and there was a lot of tightly contested games. So, with that being said, we are here to talk about them, and as well as the other morning games, and give you our thoughts and whatnot. And so, if you have not subscribed already, please subscribe, leave a like down below, share this video with your friends, leave a comment down below, whatever you want. Just appreciate the support one way or another. So, with that being said, let's get right into the video with the Washington football team defeating the New York Giants 30-29 on Thursday Night Football. Very close game and a good win for Washington after losing a very tough game to the Los Angeles Chargers, and a close game that was as well. So Washington football teams had a tough schedule so far and easily could be 2-0, but 1-1 now. The Bengals versus the Bears. The Bears, Justin Fields comes in after Andy Dalton gets injured, and they barely edge the Cincinnati Bengals, Andy Dalton's former team. Joe Burrow did not play well at all. 19 of 30, 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Justin Fields, 6 for 13, 60 yards, and 1 interception. Just not a very interesting game overall, and offenses did not play well either. The Browns defeated the Houston Texans 31-21, and a win is a win at the end of the day. Nick Chubb played very well, so did DeMarcus Felton, but Baker Mayfield had an okay game, 19-21, and it's a pretty solid game, and a lot of people are going to look at it and say, well, he threw a pick. Well, you also have to take account that he only threw 2 incompletions the entire game. 19-21, that's not a lot of pass attempts. That's pretty good. Nick Chubb carried the ball 11 times. So I like the balance that they have, but I'm really worried about their defense giving up 21 points to the Houston Texans. Tyrod Taylor, 10 of 11 for 125 yards and a touchdown. Brandon Cooks, 9 receptions, 78 yards and a touchdown. So that defensive secondary, that's very young, needs some work is what basically I'm seeing. The Rams versus the Colts. This was a very close game. The Rams came down and scored the field goal at the end, and Matthew Stafford, an okay game, 19 of 30, 278 yards, 2 touchdowns. Carson Wentz injured in the game, and they had to rely on Jacob Eason to come in and lead a game-winning drive. Obviously, did not plan out well. I don't think that is really going to work with Jacob Eason. We don't know the severity of Carson Wentz, but Cooper Kupp had an incredible game, 9 receptions, 163 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Michael Pittman Jr. and Carson Wentz had something special going on in that game. 8 receptions for 123 yards. No touchdowns, though. Tua Tagovailoa carted off with a rib injury, did not return to the game, and they rolled past the Dolphins 35-0. Last time these two teams played, it was a blowout, and this time it was a blowout once again. The Patriots versus the Jets. The New England Patriots, Mac Jones, 22 of 30, 186 yards. Decent game. Damian Harris, really the star of the show. 16 carries, 62 yards, and 1 touchdown. Zach Wilson, 19 of 33, 210 yards, and 4 interceptions. And that is just not a good game for him at all. And you see those stats and just think that that they really want Zach Wilson to be the main guy, but I'd never have thought that he would be the main guy. Coming out of BYU is not the best schools that you're going to be facing, and definitely not NFL talent week in and week out like a guy of the caliber of Mac Jones or Justin Fields is facing. And 4 interceptions is not good. I don't care if it's your second game or not. You're an NFL quarterback and you're selected second overall in the draft. And Braxton Berrios, though, a nice game, 7 receptions for 73 yards. 49ers versus Eagles. A lot of people didn't think this game would be close. I certainly did, and it was in the end. The 49ers winning 17-11. The Philadelphia Eagles go 1-1. Jalen Hurts, good rushing game, good passing game as well. 272 total yards and a touchdown on the run. Very low scoring game. Jimmy Garoppolo, though, 22 of 30, 189 yards and a touchdown. And Deebo Samuel, a nice game, 6 receptions for 93 yards. And a guy that's really emerged as a nice looking player for the Philadelphia Eagles is Quez Watkins, receiver from Southern Miss, 2 receptions, 117 yards. Some big plays for him. The Raiders versus the Steelers. The Steelers fall to the Raiders, and the Raiders, they always seem to make some sort of upset in the season, and they can't keep the consistency. Last year they beat the Chiefs, didn't end up making the playoffs. The Chiefs only lost 2 games last year, really only 1 game, and that was just, and they didn't make the playoffs. So I just think that their consistency is questionable right now. But somehow they defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers. I thought the defense was going to be too much. Certainly was not the case. The Raiders start out on the season 2-0, and the Steelers drop to 1-1. Jameis Winston, after a great game last week, defeating the Green Bay Packers, did not have that good of a week. Only had 50% pass completion percentage. The offense could get nothing done. Jameis Winston scoring their only touchdown on the ground, 7-26. Sam Darnold played an alright game, 26 of 38, 305 yards and 2 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey, a very nice game, 24 carries, 72 yards and a touchdown. David Moore, 8 receptions for 79 yards and a touchdown. And the DJ Moore, sorry, but I think Sam Darnold really does well with the star players on his team, and it helps him distribute the ball, and he definitely does a whole lot better with star power around him. Teddy Bridgewater leads the Denver Broncos to a 2-0 start. 26 of 34 for 328 yards and 2 touchdowns. Cortland Sutton, 9 receptions, 159 yards, and that was a big part of that win. Trevor Lawrence has not been playing good at all these past couple of weeks. First 2 weeks, the NFL already 5 interceptions, tied for dead last, even though he is the first overall pick in the draft, supposedly the best college football player we may have ever seen. Right now, he's not looking like it at all, and the Jaguars have got to figure it out because they have set their soul on Trevor Lawrence being a legit NFL talent. The Arizona Cardinals win 34 to 33 after the Vikings miss a last-second field goal, and just terrible miss for the Vikings. Don't know how they managed to do it again. If you remember the Seahawks game versus the Vikings, I believe it was like a 17-yard field goal that they missed to win the game. Kirk Cousins had a very nice game, 22 of 32, 244 yards, 3 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook, 22 carries, 131 yards. KJ Osborne, 5 receptions, 91 yards, and 1 touchdown. Kyler Murray, 29 of 36, 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. And Rondale Moore, 7 receptions, 114 yards, and a touchdown. And, Vikings had a great game, and it just came down to a missed field goal, and that hurts big time at the end of the day. The Falcons versus the Buccaneers. The Falcons gave the Buccaneers a tough fight in the game last year, and it was a very close game. But this time, Tom Brady, no problem, 5 touchdown passes for him in the win. Matt Ryan, 3 interceptions. Mike Evans, 5 receptions, 75 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The Cowboys versus the Chargers. This was a very good game, and the Cowboys came away with the win 20-17 on their first game. Greg Zuerlein, 56-yard field goal at the end of the game to win. This was really a sloppy game for both quarterbacks. 3 total interceptions, but Tony Pollard really carried the team to the victory. 13 carries, 109 yards, and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb, 8 receptions, 81 yards, and a touchdown. Keenan Allen kept it close, kept them in it. 4 receptions, 108 yards. No touchdowns, though. The Titans versus the Seahawks. The Seahawks led big time in this game and did not end up Coming through, obviously, the Seahawks went into the half with a 21-9 lead. The Titans shut the Seahawks out in the third quarter and then scored 14 points and ended up winning the game in overtime with a field goal. Derrick Henry, slow start to the first half, but came in, dropped 182 yards and three touchdowns. Three touchdowns, all of them in the second half and on 35 carries. Julio Jones made the Seahawks defense look silly. 6 receptions, 128 yards. Ryan Tannehill, 27 of 40, 347 yards. Russell Wilson played fairly well, except for the last drive on overtime. 22 of 31, 343 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chris Carson had 2 touchdowns, and Tyler Lockett and Russell Wilson, that connection is on fire right now. 8 receptions, 178 yards, and a touchdown. The Chiefs versus the Ravens. This was a very, very close game. Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens defense come away with this victory. Lamar Jackson on the ground was absolutely unstoppable with 16 carries, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns. Marquise Brown, 6 receptions, 113 yards, and a touchdown. And Travis Kelce doing Travis Kelce things with 7 receptions, 109 yards, and a touchdown. The Packers look to be back on track with a dominating second half win versus the Detroit Lions, 35-17. Good division win for them to get their first win of the season. So that will wrap it up for today's video. If you guys have not already, please leave a like down below, subscribe, share this with your friends. Thank you guys so much for watching.